They're discussing, Chris, virtual offseason programs where, like everyone else who's working at home, you're using teleconferencing software, FaceTime, Zoom, just good old-fashioned phone calls to have the sessions that you otherwise would have in your team facility. The thing I'm concerned about, Chris, well, let's start with that. How effective do you think it's going to be? Is it a replacement to having all the guys in a room, hearing from the coach, seeing the coach's demeanor, body language, getting the messaging, watching the film that way? How hard will it be to replicate that if everyone is sitting at home looking into their laptop?
Yeah, you're not going to be able to replicate that. Just being in a room with a coach who can make eye contact with you, make sure you're paying attention. Again, you're going to be more conversations in a meeting room to where players are going to ask questions. Hey, what do I do when the defender does this? Or what do I do when, the offense, lines up in this formation? There's going to be little nuances lost here, let alone not necessarily concerned about the classroom work, but it's the walkthroughs and things like that, the little field work you can do where you really make your most headway in the offseason. Whether that's throwing routes to the wide receivers or having a walkthrough on, hey, we're going to try to implement this part of our offense today. Let's go out on the field and get a little jog and get a feel for these new plays and new formations we might install this year. All of that's going to be lost. Hey, the virtual reality stuff, it'll help. It's something, certainly. But to say that it's the same as a normal offseason routine, no way. And it's going to be frustrating. There is so many issues right now with this whole thing, and I want to comment more about it, but right now, yes, it's not. Well, what?
Let's break it down from the physical standpoint.
Yeah.
It's one thing to sit there and learn at home and participate in meetings where it's no replacement for being in the room and hearing from the coach directly. But staying in shape, right? Under the direction of who? Are you going to be out there with your phone? And how is this strength coach? You're going to have conversations with 90 different guys over the course of a day as they get their workouts in. I mean, it just seems like it's going to be very difficult to pull it off, to have a workout routine for everyone, to have anything that would remotely simulate practice. And then what happens if somebody gets injured? Where do you go?
Sure.
Now, I think you're allowed to go to the facility to get, your attention and training and et cetera. But if you need surgery, who's gonna perform surgery? James Andrews, the noted orthopedic surgeon, is not doing Tommy John surgery indefinitely because of the COVID-19 pandemic. If you have some sort of an injury from the offseason work at home that requires a surgical procedure, do you have to wait for 3 or 4 months? So there's a lot of issues that can arise. Number one, trying to keep guys in shape, and what happens if they overdo it and they end up getting injured?
Right. And how do you work out, really? I mean, who's going to have access? Not everybody's going to have a weight room in their house. Maybe the top 2-3 guys on the roster who are making, $10-12 million a year. Yeah, maybe they have a workout room in their house. But the bottom roster guys who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, they're not going to have. So how are you going to orchestrate that? You're going to tell guys to go in the backyard and you're just going to have to make up like grassroots type workouts, push-ups, sit-ups, sprints, body squats. I mean, that's where these weight coaches are going to have to get really creative, and then also added in this fact, Mike, if I'm a quarterback and I'm playing, man, I'm starting to stress out. This is the time of the year where I'd like to start throwing some footballs. I'd like to start throwing to some receivers a little bit, start getting going, get my arm in shape, just work on some of the mechanical issues that I might have as a quarterback. That would really start to stress me out too. So these are all things that are really going to be tough. During the lockout year of 2011, guys could still get together and go have a workout together. And, hey, let's go lift weights, and then we'll go over to the field, and we'll throw balls and do a workout on the field for an hour. You can't do any of that this year. How are you going to do that? You're not going to be able to organize a group of players and go somewhere and not be – yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
What if they decide they're going to do it anyway? We've seen the video of the basketball courts and the soccer fields. What if Tom Brady decides, the hell with coronavirus, I got a season to get ready for. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, we're getting together, and we're going to work on our playbook together, and we're going to do it away. We're going to go to my ranch in Montana, and no one's going to know. What's to stop guys from doing that?
You're right, Mike, and I'm not gonna lie. If I was Tom Brady or one of those guys, I'd probably do it because I would be. I'd probably, in my stubborn young playing days, I'd be, hey, I'm young, I'm healthy. Screw this. Hey, are you sick? Are you sick? No, great. Let's go to my ranch somewhere, or let's go somewhere to where, yeah, we can get together and throw balls and work out a little bit. I selfishly, yes, would have a hard time with that. These players, especially the quarterbacks, are type A, OCD, psycho personalities that, it's hard to feel. I wouldn't feel comfortable in life if I went a week or two this part of the year without starting to be able to throw football. So I would think that is going to be something that a guy like Tom Brady or Drew Brees start to kick around in their head a little bit.
So, and let's play this out. As good corporate citizens, does the NFL tell the players they're not allowed to do that? And will there be discipline if they do it? I mean, there's discipline if anybody dares to speak out against the plan to go forward with the draft. That's far less important from a public health standpoint than discipline being imposed on players who defy orders to not congregate. I mean, look, there's a hell of a rabbit hole that is shaping up here, and it's all unfolding in real time. And as we're worried about more important things in life, you've got these other things that are going to potentially happen that we're really not maybe paying attention to. The stage is set, Chris, for one or two groups of teammates beginning that process. The next thing you know, word's going to get around and more are going to do it. It's going to be a fascinating dynamic to watch over the next couple of months because I'm with you. These guys are young. They feel invincible. They may think, I probably already had it anyway. I had a cold a few weeks ago. That probably was corona. I'm fine. I got to be ready for football season. I can't worry about getting sick. It's not going to affect me. Look, I'm an Adonis. I'm not going to get sick. That attitude, that mindset that permeates everything they do. This is something the NFL better be ready for because if we start seeing, a drone that pops up over a practice field somewhere and it's all these recognizable names and faces down below defying local orders to stay indoors, that's not a good look for anybody.
No, it's not. And I think, to your point, Mike, I think that's the NFL probably needs to send an email to all players and reach out to make sure that doesn't happen. It is the duty of an NFL player to show the leadership for society a little bit that way. And this is the way of the world right now. And, you listen to our president, listen to any of the experts. They want people away from each other. We're in a shutdown. That is the way it's got to be. If people got video and saw Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers out working, with other teammates on a field, it's going to just embolden the other stubborn, dumb, young 22-year-olds to go, oh, screw it. Brady's out throwing with his receivers. I'm going to go over to the field and play flag football with my friends today because I'm bored, or we're going to go play a pickup basketball game. I don't care. I'm young and healthy. So I do think the NFL has a responsibility there to show some leadership and get the word out to their players to say, hey, let's not do this right now. That's not the right time. It's not a good look. It's not good for our league. It's not good for society.
Sometimes when you have an open forum like this where we can kick around these ideas and you don't have to worry about a radio clock, some good ideas percolate. Not that this is a good idea, but we've tripped over something that I think needs to be on people's radar screens as April arrives, and this is normally the time that guys would start getting together again. You're going to have teammates that want to get together, and it's going to happen, and the NFL needs to get out ahead of it. And see, this attitude that is permeating everything the NFL says and does right now, that it's business as usual, but we're not going to open the facilities. I think that the NFL's position may very well be we can't control what these guys do on their own. We hope that everyone complies with all local directives and state directives and national directives, but we can't make them do it. They're on their own time and they're allowed to do whatever they want. It's going to be an interesting issue for the NFL to deal with. Something that I'm going to poke around a little bit. I'm going to see if the league has a position on this because people need to be thinking ahead of where we are right now, and I don't think there's enough of that going on with the NFL. I think there's so much focus on the draft is coming, the draft is coming, the draft is coming. They're not thinking about other issues that may be popping up over the next few months.
But Mike, I agreed. I think that's what bothers me more than anything. You're right. It's fine to keep trudging ahead with draft and free agency. There's nothing that we need to do there to congregate in large groups to make that happen. So you can do business as usual. But here's another question for you. The poor rookies, when they get drafted, what the hell are they going to do? Again, yeah, their coach will be able to FaceTime them. They'll be able to talk, but they're not going to be able to go meet up with their new quarterback and go work that way. Again, like we saw, with the collective bargaining agreement, no offseason in 2011. So they're going to be really behind the eight ball, rookies, this year. And I think the other thing that bothers me, Mike, is, like you said, it feels like the NFL right now is just going, I think it's going to be all okay by the time August and September comes around. What bothers me is we don't hear any rumors or anything like we do with the other sports who are kicking around ideas to how to make their season work. Right now, the NFL is just being the old stubborn NFL and saying, nope, it'll all work out. We'll be in training camp and we're going to play in front of 80,000 people and the season will go on. Yeah, I just don't know about that right now. And I don't feel like we're hearing any leadership of ideas or brainstorming that way. And I think that's a little concerning to me as well.
And that's one of the things we're trying to do with this platform. We're trying to identify the issues in the hopes that people do start thinking ahead of where we are right now. And I've yet to hear anything like it. I haven't gotten that phone call. Hey, we're just acting this way. We really do have it covered. All I've heard is that the people are focused on the draft, and we'll worry about everything else after that. So
that's all coaches have heard too, Mike.
That's
all
22 days from now.
Right.
That's 22 fewer days to plan for what's coming and for what may happen when July, August, September roll around.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.